There's an incredible pleasure in sitting and working with your hands. It's like anything that's any meditative process. You get so involved in it that hours will pass, you won't notice, and suddenly you're there, you're finished. So I started in the National College of Art and Design in Dublin. The nice thing about going to an art college was the fact that it gives you the chance to express yourself over a wide range. I started by making larger sculptural works, and slowly as time went on, the work seemed to just get smaller and come into a more personal scale. I began to study craft, and it was in the National College of Art that I started to make jewellery for the first time. Although we covered all the basics of soldering, filing, and finishing metal, we also concentrated on techniques that wouldn't be considered everyday jewellery techniques. Things like chasing and repoussé, sculptural wax carving, all the way through to the actual casting process. So it was almost like very primitive because you had to do everything. I also had the good fortune to study in Portugal. I was introduced to the idea of studios that were open to everybody to work in. A community of people with somebody who could impart the knowledge that they needed to make jewellery. In the year 2000, my friend Norman Mooney was here, and he had a metal workshop, and he had this beautiful space that he wanted to rent out. So the studio was founded, and it gradually it grew into a school, and now I am the primary teacher in the school, but there's also maybe, I think, about 5 or 6 people who teach here part-time. There's 2 basic classes. Introductory silversmithing, which teaches the basis of fabrication, soldering, filing, and the finishing processes. We also do wax carving for beginners. Both of those courses combined form the basis of the majority of jewellery making. We also do like a production A to Z workshop, how to set up a business, all of those things. So the practical end is taken care of with the conceptual end as well. The very first thing that students do in the introductory silversmithing class is learn how to recycle silver. The primary function is to get people comfortable using the torches. What we're going to do here is we're going to select the cleanest metal that we can find. We want to look for metal that has no contamination from solder. Then we're going to place it into this ceramic crucible. Now I'm going to add some borax powder to it. The borax cuts down the amount of oxygen that hits the metal, and it helps it to reach its molten state quicker with less oxygen. Now I'm going to use a really, really hot flame to try and melt the metal as quickly as possible. As the metal melts, what you're going to see is the metal begin to crinkle up. And this is a process called reticulation. Reticulation happens because sterling silver is an alloy of copper and silver, and they have slightly different melting points. Now the silver will actually melt into a molten ball in the center of the crucible. Add a little bit more borax to the mix. Again, this will cut down the amount of oxygen and help the metal to pour. Once we've done that, we're going to shake the metal around, make sure everything in there is completely melted and in a very, very molten state. At this point, we're ready to pour the ingot. And we pour the ingot, we're going to let it cool for a moment or two, get back to its solid state, take it out, give it a quick inspection, make sure that it's good. Plunge it into cold water for about 20 or 30 seconds. Have a look at it, and there you go, a perfect ingot ready to roll. The difference, say, between this studio and actual school is that the studio is a professional jewellery studio that makes its own work. So we are more than happy to sit down with pencil and paper and do a drawing that will take somebody's ideas from their head onto the page and hopefully into a final piece. It's a very nice way of working because it's a very personal way of working. But I love the very basic aspect of drawing and making marks from a very, very basic idea and then manifesting that through drawing into the 3 dimensions and then ultimately a finished piece of jewellery. It's very enjoyable to actually make a living from doing something that you actually love. Pleasure in making things is with working with your hands, and it's translating something that's in your head into an actual object itself. It's an amazing feeling.